good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Unlocked. I am Tracy Wilson, and I'm going to be your host for the next 30 minutes or so. Today, we are in session 2 of the series that I'm covering called the Authentic Brand Effect. And what I'm going to cover in these is basically 4 parts to this series. We covered the first part last week. Today we're on part number 2, and the Authentic Brand series is all about how to create content and a platform that connects and builds your authority. So if you're wanting to do that, if you're feeling like you're a little bit hidden right now and you want to get yourself out there and you want to share your message, your skills, your business, your service with a much wider audience, then I would highly recommend that you join me on Friday mornings here in Australia, 10 a.m., and we make sure that you manage to get yourself right the way through this 4-part series, because it really is going to help you to change the way in which you do content, change the way in which you create your message, and hopefully by the time you have finished, it will also transform you and give you a way to be able to transform your entire business. So this is a live show, as you guys know. So most of you guys are joining me right now from the Success Secrets for Business, Family and Life group on Facebook. So if you are not currently inside of that group, I would highly recommend you jump into Facebook, go find the Success Secrets for Business, Family and Life group and get yourself on in there, because although this is a live show and you have an opportunity to actually connect and ask questions of me, when you're inside of that group, you'll also get an opportunity to ask questions after the show, because no doubt by the time I'm finished with this entire series, little cogs will be spinning around in your head and you'll be wanting to ask a lot more questions. So I want to make sure that I give you guys a platform and an outlet and a way of being able to do that. Also, this show, if you don't have an opportunity to dial in live every single week, don't fear, because we record these. You can also find them inside of that Facebook group, but you can also download these via the podcast. So you can go to Stitcher, iTunes, etc., and you'll be able to listen to the Unlock show with Tracy Wilson. So go find that on podcast, and you'll be able to have them in, have me in your little ears as you are working out and doing, carrying on with your daily life. So you're not having to sit in front of a screen and actually watch. So like I said, today is all about series number 2, part 2 in the series of the Authentic Brand Effect, how to create content and a platform that actually connects and builds your authority. Because as we know, when you align your authority, you get authority by aligning the 3 things that I'm going to talk about over the series of this particular series. You'll understand them very, very well. You'll understand how to put them together, and you'll understand what to do next. So that is my desire for you over the next couple of weeks. So I am just I've got a bunch of notes here, so I need to make sure that I cover all of these off for you. So today in part 2, we're going to be talking about messaging that amplifies your message. So how do you create that? You've got a message. How do you now amplify it with the right messaging to hit the right audience at the right time? We also want to make sure that it elevates your status and it positions you as a sought after authority in your industry and niche. So if that's something that you guys want to hear more of, hang about, and also just do me a favor and comment to me on Facebook. There's a section down below, obviously, in the comments. I will get them here right in the studio, and I'll be able to at least say hi to you. So let me know if you are actually here. All right, so congratulations firstly, because if you're here today, then you are actually in series number 2, or part 2 of this, and you're actually one step closer to being able to create some momentum in your business, create attention, and build an audience and a business and sales that really only a few experts and entrepreneurs seem to be able to do and seem to be able to experience. But I want you to be able to do it much quicker than anybody else in your niche. And the fact that you're actually watching this right now already puts you in the category that most people will never reach. And the fact is, the fact that you're actually here today indicates that you're actually dedicated to making a change. You want to, you're wanting to progress, you're wanting to make a difference and make some change in your life. So congratulations, you are here. You're already that one step closer than everybody else. It indicates that you're actually ready to do what you need to do to have the results and the impact that you actually want, and that you're an expert and an entrepreneur that already understands that the path that you've been on so far isn't necessarily the one that can give you the results that you desire. Because the reality is, if you were on the right path and you were on that right track already, you most likely would already have the results that you would desire, and you probably wouldn't be here today. So if that's true for you, if you're not really where you want to be yet, then I want you to stick around for today's session, because it will help you get unstuck and release all them shackles that you've been tying to yourself, and you've been locked up, and you've been sitting in that space of being the unknown expert identity, which is what we talked about in the last session. And if you've watched session number 1, which was the session where I talked about how to break free from the unknown expert shackles, then you'll want to make sure that if you haven't watched it, you actually click a link below. So I'm going to make sure that after this session, I put a link below so that you can actually go back and you can watch session number 1, because these fit together. And if you don't go through session number 1 before you do this, or you can watch this now, but you must go back and watch session number 1 so that you fully understand what the major shifts are, what shifts I'm talking about, what's actually going on right now. Otherwise, you are going to miss the opportunity. You are going to miss the messaging that is spoken about in all of these, and you just won't quite have all of the components to be able to put this together correctly. So please make sure that you actually do that. Like I said, I'm going to put a link below so that you can go back and watch video and session number 1, where I talk about how to unlock or break yourself free from those unknown expert shackles that you've had around your legs for some time that have kept you hidden and unknown. So if you did watch part 1, let me know. If you've actually come and you've watched part number 1, let me know that you've already done that, because if you did, I'm sure that you would realize the shifts that are happening right now. And these shifts are around messaging and distribution. So messaging and distribution, there's some big shifts happening in that space right now, and they go well beyond trying to rely on your networks for referrals, or trying to create and post content for the sake of posting content. So if you're doing that, there's some shifts that are happening, and you need to move away from that and and start to implement the things that I'm talking about, which will enable you to move really quickly and give you some momentum in this space. So if we look at one of the case studies I've sort of got here, and most of you guys, if you've been in this entrepreneurial space for some time, you will probably be familiar with a lady by the name of Marie Forleo. You will hear me sort of talk about her on a lot of the unlock sessions. She's the woman who coined the phrase, everything is figureoutable. But if you know anything about her, she's actually been one of those entrepreneurs who actually started offline. So she wasn't in the online space. And what she's been able to do over a period of time is actually break into the mainstream media. And she's now starting to appear on, or has for quite some time, making appearances on the likes of Oprah and really big shows. And there's some fundamental things that she did that I'm going to share with you that will help you to make those shifts and make them now and make them fast. So she managed to do that because at the time she took advantage of some shifts that were happening then. So if we look at where she actually started, and if you know anything about Marie's story, you'll know that she started offline. She was actually somebody who was waiting tables, she was cleaning, she was about 23 years old, and she decided that she wanted to be a life coach, and she sort of jumped into that space, not really knowing a lot about what to do and how to do. She just knew that there was something inside of her that said, hey, I want to actually help people, and I want to do this. And she was also a hip hop instructor. So she started off in the online world just offering a lot of tutorials and how-to videos and educational style content. And she was kind of posting that everywhere she could, everywhere that she saw that there was an opportunity. Then she saw that there was a big gap, a big opportunity that she identified. And that's when the shift started to happen for her. And she very quickly became a sought after leader and authority in the field of business. So she coaches women all over the world on business. And this all happened because she actually started to focus on her purpose-driven show. She created a show called Marie TV. And although her online show then enabled her to really focus her messaging in, and she's now able to tap into some really powerful beliefs. So these fundamental things that Marie did that shifted her from creating lots of how-to content, lots of kind of information, to very specific messaging, and the way in which she does that really hits her audience on an identity level, and it offers something that's really, quite a lot deeper, in combination with educational style videos, information, content. And since that shift, she has grown to levels that most people, aren't able to match. And she's impacted millions and millions of people, and is an extremely sought after, influencer in her respective space. So when you also adapt this shift, when you look at some of the things that I'm going to talk about, and I'll delve into, sort of how Marie's done that and why it's so different to what a lot of people are doing right now over the period of this series, you will also see that there is an opportunity for you to do the same thing. It is available and it is possible for somebody like you who can start right where you're at right now, so that you too can build a really solid platform that builds authority, influence, connection, and gives you the exposure that you need and desire to help you create a business and a life that you want. So the thing that you'll notice with people who have a great amount of influence is this: they have a really solid platform for exposure. So they're not just posting every old where for the sake of doing it. They create themselves a really solid platform that gives them exposure. And it's not their how-to content or their tutorials that actually build it. It's the fact that they build some really solid messaging, and they have a mission. They know what it is that they want to stand up for. They know what it is that they want to stand out for, and they know that they're going to stand firm on their messaging. And when they do that, when they stand for something, they start to reinforce an identity, and they start to shift beliefs. So as you can see, this effect has actually already started to take place. So I talked about right at the beginning, this whole series is around building your authority. How do you build that authority? Build a brand that is authentic. So it's the authentic brand effect. So this effect has already started. And I'm sure you're now sort of starting to think, hey, Trace, well, that's all great, but how do we create this new platform? And how do we create a messaging? And how do I adapt to the shift? Now, those are really good questions. They're really good questions, but they're actually not the right ones. Because one thing that you'll actually be neglecting, you'll be neglecting a step. And this is something that most people try to do, and it's the unknown experts. It's the people that are, they're an expert, but they're not known, widely, is because they start to do things and they're doing it all backwards. They start by creating a service. They start by creating their offer and their product. Then they start to try and create content and information that they think their audience will find valuable. And they start posting it everywhere they possibly can. They start telling their friends about it in the hope that their friends and their networks will start to refer people their way. They start to create things on all sorts of different platforms that have no sustainability. There's no anchor with that. And I'll talk a lot more about the anchor again as we move forward in this series. So what I want you to understand is that your message and your mission are actually the things that you create that will help you to stand out. Those are the things that help you to stand out from the crowd. Why? Because it's most likely that not anybody else will have the same message or the same mission as you do, and they don't present it in the same way that you do. So your message becomes the thing that you're standing up for. It's what you're going to stand firm on, and it's how your product is actually interpreted when you put it out into the marketplace. So that becomes a super important piece of the puzzle. Now, like I said, what a lot of people start to do is they start to build content, and they try and, put that out there to everybody they can. And they think that the content is the thing that's going to do it. Well, in fact, your content is actually just the vehicle that delivers your message. And it's the social media platforms that you're posting them on. They are like these moving targets. They're like, gosh, I'm gonna post here today, but then I'm gone tomorrow. Sometimes they are very, very hit and miss, and they they provide you with no longevity, no anchor, and nothing for people to come back to where your message is consistent and anchored to your platform. And that's why most people actually remain unknown in their industries. It's because they're doing things all backwards. And the thing is, I want you to stop now and think, gosh, is that me? Because maybe you've been doing this too. Maybe you are somebody who has been trying this whole thing, trying, finding yourself in a situation where you're not getting yourself anywhere. And it's probably because you too are doing things backwards. So now what I'm hoping you are seeing is that everything starts with your message. The message is the thing that you start with first. And I'm hoping that makes sense. So can you guys let me know, does that make sense? And do you understand the reason why we need to start with your messaging first? Your message and your mission we start with first, because everything else gets created from that. That is the thing that is going to fuel your business. That is the thing that will power you along and will create momentum. And when you do that, you will start collecting people to join you on the journey along the way. Like I said, when you start here with your message, you are going to stand firm on, you're going to start to begin to create a place where you understand your audience at a really deep level. You're going to start to create the right message to the right people at the right time, which will then enable you to attract exactly the right type of clients that you want. Why? Because they align with your message. When they align with your message, they are most likely to be the absolute dream clients that you have been desiring to work with. And they will come in droves because they get your message and they start to follow you. So if you put both this whole messaging piece actually puts both you and your audience in the same camp, and they start to say things like, they're my kind of people. I hang out there because that's my tribe. That's my sort of person. And when they start to do that, then they are the sort of people that will go to the mat for you. They will start to support you and they will start to rally behind you. And when you get this right, by connecting your message and your product and service, and you become that bridge, it takes away all of the need for you to do any type of hard sales or being sleazy. It takes that completely off the table because people resonate with your message and they want to be part of the mission. So sales, the whole entire sales process becomes so much more easy. Okay, so how do we start to create a message that actually creates a shift? Now, in the process, and one of our pillars that I teach is around planning. A lot of this stuff happens in the planning phase. So what we need to do is we need to understand that people are actually looking for transformation. So they're not always looking for how to do something. You might teach them how to do something, but along the way, they're looking for a transformation. They're looking for ways to shift from where they are right now to the new place, a better place. And it's our job to connect them with that. It's our job to build that bridge and take them from where they are now, which in your case, if you're listening today, it's being that unknown expert. And then we build a bridge to get you to a point where you're actually a sought after authority. That is the new place that you want to go, the new identity that you will hold. You will release yourself from the shackles of being the unknown expert, and you will now take on the new identity of being the authority, the sought after authority in your niche and in your industry. And it's your messaging crafted in a really special way that will enable you to do this. It will then be your product and your service will become that bridge. Like I said, it's like you giving somebody a GPS so that they can find the fastest route to their destination, because that is what people want. They want the fastest way to get there, and they also want a transformation to take place. They want to be able to move from where they are right now, stuck, to a place where they are unlocked, unleashed, and unshackled from what has been holding them back in the past. And you're going to be able to do that by creating a really unique model of messaging. So once you know who it is that you're going to serve and how you are going to connect with them, it's then actually time to start moving to part number 2. And this is all about shifting people's perspectives and their beliefs. So as you know, your content should not be about pitching your products or pitching your services. It's actually about building connections. It's about building trust. It's about building authority so that people actually will want to buy from you down the road. You're going to be integrating your beliefs and your content, right? You're going to be building all of that together so that it becomes part of the fabric of what you do. This then means that you will be really different to anybody else. This is how you create something unique and enables you to stand out so that nobody else can play in the same space as you. You become the expert and you claim that position. It's going to give your audience something to rally behind. And this is where you take a stand for what you believe in and you create that change that you actually want to see in the world. And when you start to create that change that you want to see in the world, most likely your audience is going to want to see that change too. Why? Because you've got your message right. They resonate with it. They're on board with you. And therefore, you give them something to rally behind. Makes it extremely powerful. So I want you to ask yourself these couple of questions right now. So I want you to stop for a moment and I want you can even write these down. I want you to answer for yourself, what change do you want to see in your industry, or what change do you actually want to see in society? What are the changes that you want to see? Okay, so I want you to take a moment to just write those things down. And then the next thing I want you to think about is I want you to start thinking about your industry. And I want you to start thinking about your industry in terms of what's wrong in your industry right now. What's going wrong, what's bad, or what's the old way? What's the normal, what's the way that people think has become the norm? What are those levels of thinking that people have? So what's going on in your industry right now that's wrong, bad, or potentially is the old way? It's a way that people think is the norm. Now this is part of the process that we do when we start to realign beliefs. We're starting to agitate people's beliefs and get them to see things from a new perspective. Because when you can get them to see things from a new perspective, it will expand their mind and will allow them to have a level of transformation with your messaging to occur. You also want to start thinking about what is it that is in your audience, right? What is it that your audience, your ideal client, is struggling with right now? What is causing them to struggle? What is it that they think is, causing them to struggle, and that they think, well, this is just the way it's supposed to be? And that's where we're going to start to shift perspectives, and we're going to get them to start shifting the way that they look at things, and they start shifting to the way in which your message connects with them. And we're going to give them something, like I said, to rally behind. Now, if you look at a lot of the things that I've been doing, I believe that staying locked up, so the thing that I want people to rally behind is, I believe that that staying locked up is not the way to go. I want you to live a life that's unlocked. I don't think that staying locked up, hidden, and hoping like heck that people are going to find you, or posting your information content everywhere with no anchor, actually causes slow growth, little change, and little momentum for most experts. I don't want to see people who are really, really good at what they do not being successful and having to go and find, another job or another way of doing things, or feeling down and beating themselves up because they have no anchor, they have no platform, and their messaging is not right. So I want to unleash you from that and enable you to move forward in a way where you are confident and you're able to do this confidently. So as most common thing that most online experts or experts think is that most things are normal. They think that it's normal that if they just simply do a good job, that word of mouth will actually come in and take over. That word of mouth will take over, and the people that they've served in the past will start talking and talking and talking, and then all of a sudden droves of people will find them. But we know that that is not true. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't matter how good you are. You might get a small ripple effect with a few people telling a few people, but what we want to do is create an avalanche. We want lots of people talking about what it is that you are doing. And you know that with what I'm talking about, that this is a huge part of my message, and it's a huge part of what I'm talking about in this series, is to help you be unlocked, help you get yourself out there, move from being the unknown expert to somebody who is an authority and sought after in your industry, so that you can claim that space, that you can stand up, you can stand firm, and you can claim your podium so that you can actually stand out, because that is the way in which we start changing the world, we start improving societies, and we start shifting outdated norms that are actually causing suffering, so that we can make the world a better place. So if that's what you want to do, like I said, you want to keep watching, because I'm going to continue to keep unlocking more and more of the strategies and the how-to of how to do this over the coming series. So what I do understand is that part of this can be really scary for some people. Part of it, part of you says, oh, I want to stay, in my little box where I'm really comfortable. You might be afraid of putting yourself out there. You might be afraid of judgment. You might be afraid of what other people think, because when you start to stand up for something, you may not be standing up for the things that everybody else, believes in, but you will start to show slowly but surely you will start to find the tribe that resonates and vibes with you, and all of a sudden you'll create that tribe of people that want to follow and will, like I said, will go to the mat for you. So there's a simple formula that I'm going to share with you over the course of this program, these upcoming sessions, where it's going to help you get your message really dialed in, and it's also going to help you to find the platform that is going to help you expedite your momentum and also blow up your exposure. So I'm going to give you those two things. That is my hope for you after you've gone through this entire series, because I want you to start to see things from a different perspective. So like I said, over the series, you're going to start to see that. You're going to start to go, oh, aha, okay, now I see what I've got to do, and I see where I've got to make these subtle changes to my messaging and what I'm doing to get my message out there, and to start building a tribe of loyal people that want to follow you and eventually buy your products and stand by you. So there's a very good chance that you actually thought that if you did a good job, that your business would just start to boom. Probably a very good chance that you're out there, you're working your little backside off, trying to do the very best you can in the hope that your business will boom. And you'll quickly realize that it just doesn't work that way. Sometimes, no matter how good you are, you can remain that unseen, unheard, unknown expert in what you do, because you have not built your anchor, you have not built your podium, and your messaging is off point. So we want to make sure that we get all of those things right. And through the series, I want to give you the tools to be able to break free from all of those. I want to help you to break free from being unknown, break free from being unseen and, not heard. So I want to serve you at the highest level I possibly can, so that you can transform during this process. So the process that I'm going to share with you is really unique over the next little while. And it's what we do to be able to create that really unique process that helps us to stand out. It's how I've created a unique process that helps me to stand out from the crowd. And that is my intention for you too. So to help you to create your messaging, your offer, and the platform that helps you to stand out. That is what's going to create your connection, what's going to create your authority, and it's going to create exposure for you. So if you want to make sure that you do, that you have built yourself that anchor and a podium to do this, then in the next series, I'm going to cover that in more detail. So I want you to tune in again next Friday, where I'm going to go deeper into this. I'm going to share with you the next layer. I'm going to start to uncover, it's like peeling back an onion, start to uncover some of the things that maybe you're realizing, hey, I'm not doing this quite the way that I should. I'm going to start peeling back the layers of this so we get to the core of what it is that you need to do. So tune in again next week, where I'm going to cover the next piece of the puzzle in this series. And by the time you are finished, you are going to understand all of the components that you need to do, that you need to have in alignment, that will enable you to build your content. It will build your platform that connects and builds authority. So hey guys, if you want to do that, continue to hang out with me next Friday. I'm going to be back again next Friday, 10 o'clock which is Australian time, where I'm going to cover part number 3 in the Authentic Brand Effect series. Make sure that you bring yourself a pen and paper, because as I'm going through this, you'll see that there are subtle things that I'm sharing with you. I want you to be taking notes so that you can implement this stuff. Like I said, I'm also going to put all of this series onto one page that you guys can go to, where I'll have the entire series as we go through the 4 parts of this. I'll put them all together so that you can start to binge watch them too. But I would highly recommend you come to the live show so you can ask questions. And then secondly, you go back and you review these videos in their entirety. You probably need to watch them, once or twice, so that you pick up all the little nuances that I'm talking about, and you can start to piece all of this together. By the time we've finished, you will see that you'll have a roadmap to the things that you need to do, and a pathway that's going to help you to build that platform, build connection, and create a place where you become that sought after authority. So, hey guys, thanks very much for joining me again today. My name is Tracy Wilson. I want to help you become that really sought after authority in your niche market, and help you build that platform and podium so that you can, shout what it is that you do from the rooftop. So thanks for joining me. Always appreciate your guys' time. I'll see you guys back here again next Friday, but I'm also here on Wednesday. I'll be here with a very special guest. So just make sure that you tune in on Wednesdays when I have guest time, and then Fridays I'll be doing the next show in line with this particular this particular special lot of episodes in the Authentic Brand Effect. So thanks for joining me. Enjoy your guys' weekend. I certainly am. It's a beautiful blue sky day here in Australia, so I'm going to go and head outside and get a bit of fresh air. So thanks for joining me. Talk to you guys again soon. Bye.